Hello and welcome to In This Corner. I'm James Smith. Well, here we go again. Hollywood and boxing blending together to create a motion picture. Throughout history, there have been over 50 boxing-themed movies and classics like Gentleman Jim, Requiem for a Heavyweight, Raging Bull, Rocky, Cinderella Man, Million Dollar Baby, and most recently, The Fighter. Well, get ready for something different as robots get ready to rumble in real steel.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for Real Steel?
It's 2020 and fighters have been replaced by robots. Multi-talented Hugh Jackman plays a retired fighter, Charlie Kenton, who nearly made it to the top of the fight game, but not quite. Life after boxing, like with so many fighters, has been very difficult for Charlie. He now is a promoter of robot boxing. He ends up teaming up with his estranged son, played by Dakota Goyo, to try and take a trashed robot and make him a champ. I'm not going to tell you any more. You'll have to just go see the movie. We caught up with Hugh Jackman and the great Sugar Ray Leonard, who was hired as the boxing advisor for Real Steel. All right, we'll do this boxing-esque, if you will. Tail of the tape for Hugh Jackman, hailing from Sydney, Australia. 6'2", a solid 215 pounds, 78-inch reach, a 17-year professional. Over 30 motion pictures, countless Broadway plays, a Tony, an Emmy, hosted the Academy Awards, helped Zack Ryder win a championship with WWE, and according to my Kiwi friends, they want you to do the anthem again if the All Blacks play
Smitty.
Australia. I'm sorry, but
I'm
anyway,
impressed.
welcome to In This Corner.
Yeah.
Good to meet you.
It's great to meet you too. When I sang the national anthem for Australia, we lost 32-0. So
The All Blacks told
That's why
me.
they want me. That's pretty amazing. You've done your research, Smitty.
I have. Well, I'm
impressed.
used to, getting in the ring with the greatest fighters in the world, and it's actually, when I think about you, a lot of times I like to describe a fighter as an all-around fighter. He can box, he can punch. There's nobody in Hollywood with the versatility of you. You can sing, you can dance, you can act. How do you manage all those skills into one package?
When I began as an actor, I think it's fair to say I never had that thing over my head like this guy's going to be the next great actor. I felt like I had to work harder than anyone else, right? And in Australia, it's a small, you can't just be a film star. There's only 10 movies made a year. So pretty much developing every skill for me was a way of staving off unemployment to begin with. And it was my protection. And then gradually I kept working at them until I felt, like confident in all those disciplines,
Boxing. I call fighters the most common and uncommon of all athletes. I had a brief boxing career because I had a problem. I didn't like getting hit. So that made my career. But fortunately, I get a chance to get in the ring with all the great fighters on my show. I understand your dad used to box.
Yeah, my dad was a boxer, and he never talked to me about it. I found out when I was about 16, because my brother and I were at it every day, just punching each other. So he said to me, he made the decision, he was never going to talk about it for fear of us glorifying it, right? And therefore, just hitting each other. But when I told him I was working with Sugar Ray Leonard on this movie, I could see in his face, he was like, I knew you were kind of doing okay, but man, you're really doing okay. And when I saw the movie with my dad, at least 2 times, maybe 3, I looked over, just quite took a look at my dad, and I could see him crying. He was a boxer. He said when he won the British Army Championship in 1955, he was put up to another level. And probably a little like you, he got knocked out in his first fight. It was probably like Golden Gloves level. He says, I never saw the punch coming, and I realized I was way too slow,
What are your first memories of professional boxing, and what fighters did you look up to when you were coming up in Australia?
My first memory is Muhammad Ali. Again, I told you we were not allowed to watch it at home. But I remember the song, Muhammad Ali, he floats like a butterfly and stings like a bee. I don't know who sang that one, but that was a big hit in Australia, and we were all of us would pretend to be Muhammad Ali, then Sugar Ray. And I really remember watching it when Mike Tyson came to the fore. That was when I was a teenager, maybe 16, 17, when he started coming through, and he was like a hero. Like when you're 16, 17, someone like Mike Tyson, we were just all in awe of him, you know. So that's when I really started to watch it.
And I got to tell you something. I know Mike quite well. A little bit upset, maybe not with you personally,
right,
but a little bit upset that you got the honor of world's sexiest man over him.
I'm happy to give him that one.
I know you did a lot of studying, research on him when you were for your part in of course, in X-Men with Wolverine.
Yeah.
You watched a lot of Tyson tapes. What did you pick up?
Well, the thing that I got out of that the most was from the moment he hit the ring, there was not an ounce of fear in him. He had a little bit of that smell of, I want to take you down quickly. He was obviously very quick. His technique was, I think, deceptively good. But he was in all the time. In. Like, there was no waiting back, no, like, scoping out there. He would just get in there, and I think that would freak out other opponents. I don't remember another fighter like, I'm sure there were, but he's the first one I saw that seemed fearless and wanted to finish it in 15 seconds, you know? And so for Wolverine, I always took that as a great starting point. Wolverine he's not fighting to look pretty, look great. He's fighting to get you to chop your head off as quickly as possible, you know, just to get it done, you know. There's
a focus. You know, I'm the only reporter to have been inside the ring with Mike. We did an in-ring segment. He actually tapped me, and I had a little bridge here that fell out. But there's a zone, a focus, you know, that he gets in. And I asked Christian Bale this before the Fighter came out. I interviewed him and Mark Wahlberg, and I said, for you acting, what's the toughest part? Because, you know, Christian really goes through, you did the Prestige with him. He goes through a lot in preparation for movies with his body. What's toughest for you, the mental, the physical preparation for a movie, or does it depend on the movie?
It does depend on the movie. I think it takes a lot of discipline. Film acting is very different to stage acting, where it's like you have a fight every night, and you run it from beginning through to end. In film, it's taken over a 3 or 4 month period. You can spend a whole day on a scene, and you can start to obsess about that. But in the world of the film, it's just a little scene. So you have to be able to really, focus is a great word. It's like a cool, calm, focused energy, where from the beginning of the day at 8:30, right through till 8:30 at night, you have to be on it. You can't be warming up by 12. You can't. I know you get different takes, but that camera moves on and that scene's done. Or, you know, you really have to. You have to stay incredibly disciplined and focused, and you have to have a game plan.
You're gonna be punching guys bigger. You're gonna have to punch up. That's it. Nice. What? You too, old man? Huh. Hey, come on. Let's get to work. Nice. Let's do that again. Nice. 3-punch combo. Combo. Again. Again. Faster. Faster. Nice. You're not even out of breath. I like it. Okay, see how you move. That's good.
Let's talk about Real Steel. Tell the fans what they'll be witnessing. I really enjoyed the movie. I went in there wondering, but as a boxing guy and watching the robots, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed your movements. Ray did a good job. Tell us about Real Steel.
That means a lot to me, man, because Ray and I talked a lot about how people like you would see the film, and for him, of course, it was important. I remember him looking at me and said, 2 things, man. You're the cornerman. You are Angelo Dundee in this movie. He says, when you're in that outside and you're looking in, you've got to have it here. The strength, the wisdom, everything, the emotion. I think the movie Real Steel is going to surprise a lot of people. It's got a lot of cool action. Yes, there's robots boxing. My kids love it. I mean, to some degree, I love it. But it's got a lot of heart. The movie's really a redemption tale about this father, son, and this robot. And you end up cheering and yelling and screaming for these robots, precisely because of the people around the sport, the father, the son, these people who are really putting all their chips into this world. And, you know,
it has a Rocky-esque theme to it.
Completely. You know, it really does. I mean, I loved Rocky growing up. I loved all the Rockies. Sean Levy, who directed, loved all the Rockies, and I watched Rocky 1 again, and it was heartening to me because, you know, Rocky's not such a great guy at the beginning of that film. He was a standover guy. He was a thug, breaking people's knees if they didn't pay up. You know, he was caught in this world, and he couldn't get out of it. And it's actually it's a movie about second chances, which is exactly what Real Steel's about.
Relax, Kitty's on our side.
Not funny.
Kind of funny.
You know, he has voice recognition, right?
No, he doesn't.
No, he didn't in the league.
But when Noisy fought in Brazil, I must have put it in. Right, left, uppercut. Doesn't work. Right, left, uppercut. I knew that price was too good to be true.
Give me a second. Let me see if I can fix it.
Look at God. Look how good he looks, too.
2 seconds. Let me look at something.
Why didn't you ask the guy to have a look at him?
Niki, Hidani.
Oh, what's that? Was that Japanese?
Apakato Nikai.
Let me see if I can reset him to English. Hang on.
How the hell do you know Japanese?
Video games.
You know, whenever I interview the great fighters of today, I interviewed Floyd Mayweather a couple of weeks ago, Manny Pacquiao's got a fight coming up, I ask these guys who've accomplished so much, what's next? What are your goals?
For me?
What are the goals of Hugh Jackman?
I hope Mayweather said a fight with Pacquiao. Did he say that?
Yeah, well, if Manny takes the test, he's ready to fight him. So hopefully we'll get these two inside the ring. But what about for you? What are your goals?
I try to avoid specific goals, like I want to win an Oscar or I want to do this or that. Because at the end of the day, I find those kind of goals in an acting sense limiting. Pretty much everything that has happened to me in the last 10 years, Smitty, I wouldn't have thought of 15 years ago. So if you set a bar, wherever that is, you may be able to go way above that bar. So my bar is about continuing to work, to grow, to take on parts where I'm 80% confident but 20% terrified. That feeling that I'm challenging myself all the time. So, however, I have for a long time wanted to do a movie musical, and because I've done musicals on stage, I've done movies. I've never combined the two. So I'm about to realize that dream in doing the movie version of Les Miserables, which is a great musical, and so I'm going to do that next year. So that's one of the specific things I can tick off. But for the most part, I just don't want to take anything for granted. I want to keep working hard and keep challenging myself.
Well, I think Real Steel will be a tremendous success, and it's been our great privilege to have, pound for pound, one of the great entertainers, Hugh Jackman,
Thanks,
on in
Smitty.
this corner. Thank you.
I only have to correct one thing. At Wolverine, I'm in the 220s, but right now I'm like 195.
I had to keep you as a heavyweight. We need a heavyweight.
You need a heavyweight, true.
Okay.
I still have the reach, though.
You punch him with conviction. So you trying to. The greatest relationship is trainer, boxer.
Yes.
And you got his eye, right? So
Yeah.
You go sharp. I mean, it's like you get it. Yeah.
For everyone.
Yeah, make
that's
him
right.
feel what you throw him. You want yes.
Come on. Yes. Yes. Yes.
That's good. So you see what happens? Now your punches are better.
Yeah, and then he's getting him emotionally involved.
Emotionally involved. That's good.
Ray, how did your involvement with Real Steel come about?
I was approached by a friend of mine, Stacy Snyder and Gary Jones, about being involved with a movie that's about boxing. And I jumped at the idea because it was such a wonderful experience having the chance to work with Hugh Jackman. And my whole objective was to kind of show him how to properly execute the punches, and also to look and feel like an ex-fighter or a trainer. And because of he's an athlete anyway, and he's an incredible actor, he was able to put those two together and look the part. And then I had a chance to kind of choreograph the robots and give them each their own distinctive style. That too was a challenge, but it was fun because those robots, because of the technology, Smitty, they are so agile and so flexible and so realistic-like that there's a human nature to these pieces of metal.
They move better than the Klitschko's.
They do, without question, without question. And I truly loved it. I had the time of my life.
What's the most difficult thing to get a guy in the mindset of a fighter? And that's what I think works so well in this movie. Hugh's already in great shape. You got him looking at mechanics like a fighter, but mentally, you said some stuff about Angelo Dundee, and it got the focus going with him as well.
Yeah, because I kind of use that as a blueprint. I said, my trainer, Angelo Dundee, we had a connection. In other words, he didn't have to say too much. He just looked at me. I read that that communication there, and because you don't always have to talk. Sometimes you can just feel it in the eyes. And he understood that. And he digested it first, but he understood that, and he brought it to life.
It's been about 60 motion pictures with boxing as the backdrop. What's your favorite all-time fight movie?
It's not just one, Smitty, fortunately, I can't say just one. I mean, from The Champ to The Fighter to Raging Bull to Hurricane. Did I say The Fighter? I mean, to Real Steel. Because it's that human element, it's that emotional content that is so heavily involved. And the fact that Real Steel is great because it's for the whole family. It really, really is.
The Big Fight, your new book that's out, and we'll talk more about this at length when we get back to Vegas together. But how's the book going?
Doing well, extremely well. And it was something that I never thought in a million years I would have the courage to do, to talk about my life, good and bad, to reveal things that haunted me for so many years. But Smitty, it was cathartic. It was really therapeutic that I got that poison out of my system, and I felt better. I felt less weight on my shoulders, and it's been an amazing journey, of doing this book with my writer, Michael Arkush.
Sounds like a real cleansing experience, and you revealed so much. We know about Ray Leonard the fighter, but we get to know about the Ray Leonard the man, and the good, the bad, and the ugly side. Marvelous Marvin Hagler. I'll see him at I had a drink with him at the Hall of Fame this year, and I'll see him again. What would you like me? What message should I give from Ray Leonard to Marvin Hagler?
I would convey to him the fact that he is, without question, one of the greatest middleweight champions, undisputed, there is or there was. And I mean, although there's a sour part of him because of the decision that was given to me, but that doesn't discount who he was and who he is and what people think of him. And he has to get over that.
And a final message to Mr. Pacquiao and my friend Mr. Mayweather.
Do it before it's too late.
Great seeing you, Ray.
Good seeing you always, man.
I'm not one of those guys who's into all the animation and Transformer stuff, but I got to tell you, Real Steel was cool. The robot scenes were fantastic. And I think Sugar Ray Leonard patterned one of those robots after his arch rival, Roberto Duran. I bet you boxing fans will be able to figure out which one I'm referring to. Rock'em Sock'em robots will never be the same. I walked into the screening of Real Steel really not knowing what to expect. I walked out with a huge smile, and you will too. Go check out Real Steel. In This Corner wants to thank Hugh Jackman and Sugar Ray Leonard for joining us.